Welcome back to Management Made Easy. I'm Kishshana Palmer, your spicy, truth-telling sister friend in management, and I'm here with the one, the only, Maria Dartrush, my co-host.
Hello, everyone. So happy to be here for episode 9. And today's episode is especially for all of you big thinkers out there. If you're the kind of leader with a head full of brilliant ideas, but a track record of half-finished projects, pull up a chair. This one's called Management for Dreamers.
Oh, I love that. Yes, honey, we are talking to you, Miss Visionary Pants, okay? Mr. Big Picture. You like that? The ones with the notebooks or iPhone notes full of world-changing ideas at 3 a.m. But come daylight, your execution is like, new phone, who this? I want you to know, Maria, I'm just here for my own personal amusement. If you have ever felt like the movie of your project is always buffering at 92%, you know, like how on Netflix, it'd be like, no, that's my whole life. So close to getting it done, but never quite there. Ooh, I feel you, because that's me. I am that movie. I am constantly buffering.
At 92%?
Yeah. Almost there.
Look, folks have dreams on dreams on dreams, but making them real is a whole other story. Today we're unpacking why so many dreamers struggle to wake up and do. We'll get into structured ways to bridge that gap between vision and reality. And then we're going to dish out some tools and tactics to help you actually finish what you start. This is my favorite.
So I always joke that like I either can be like the best admin in the world or the person in charge. But that in between space, and let me see, I'm an awesome COO. I still think they're in charge. To be clear, that murky in between space where I only have my one little world, I struggle. Don't let me have to straddle all the things. Like, and I'm a generalist at heart. And so I am known to have a thing or two or three or four in my cocktail. But I realized that I really struggled with finishing things because if I don't start and finish things like really quickly, I lose interest. And so, you know, we got to do a Kishshana style. And so we're going to talk about this spicy, honest, with deep compassion. You like that? And a dash of pop culture. And as always, plenty of laughs because we're here for ourselves as much as we're here for you. Listen, Maria, today I had to pull it out though. So, you know, we're going to Beyonce it up. We might Issa Rae insecure it up. And I feel like you are the one who likes Abbott Elementary.
I do like Abbott Elementary. I also like season 2 of Survival of the Thickest. Looking at management, looking at I like the different things happening there.
That's gonna only be on our Substack, y'all. So if you don't go to the Management Made Easy Substack, you're not gonna get that. We're not putting that out for free. Okay, just let you know. We have families to feed, mortgages to pay. Okay, employees to make sure that they stay healthy, happy, and whole, while we help you stay healthy, happy, and whole.
Hello.
Today we need to talk leadership, and we can fangirl a little bit.
Yes, exactly. So we should, everybody, just consider this your creative intervention with love. By the end of our 45-ish, 40-ish minutes, you'll have new insight into the Visionaries dilemma. Trademark pending. This is a framework to get stuff done and a toolkit of routines and platforms. Come a little closer to right into the speaker so you can hear it. Kishshana's going to share how she uses ClickUp and even plain old iPhone notes to wrangle her big ideas. And I'm telling y'all, you will understand by the time we get into this. Just touch on it, how transformative this could be for you. Because you think your ideas are big. I was thinking just yesterday, Kishshana, how I will give you a very simple activity I want to do. I'd be like, oh, we should just do this.
Yeah.
Because I like to collect funds. I like to collect money. So we should just do this and collect money. Okay. And Kishshana, in response to that, not even like we'll come back 10 days later, in literal real-time response will be like, girl, I'm Googling whole retreat sites in the south side, in the North Georgia mountains. And what we need to do is call and get 5 vendors. I'm like, well, first of all, I was talking a light bites brunch in your house. I was talking about a run to Whole Foods. I was talking about picking up some flowers at Trader Joe's. That's what I was talking about.
I do that all the time. To the point where it has to be like, slow down. Slow down. Hey, lady, it's getting big. Okay, sorry. Let me not grand poobah us right now. You see every episode, I'm like, let me just show y'all exactly how old I am. Okay. Oh my
The
gosh.
soundtrack is banging.
So listen, y'all, let's just dive in. Dreamers, this one is for you. And it's time to turn those hallucinations into actionable plans. Maria, you ready?
Ready, set, cue the music.
So, why do big thinkers struggle to implement? Okay. Let's start with the visionaries dilemma. Why is it that so many big thinkers, people with huge ideas, sparkling vision, if you will, struggle to actually implement those ideas? And if you're like, yeah, that's me, I want you to know you are so not alone. Okay. In fact, even entire companies face this. So, according to Harvard Business Review, a whopping 67% of well formulated strategies fail in execution. And get this, Maria. Other research says that up to 90% of strategic plans never, and when I say never, I mean never, see successful implementation. So if you've got a dream that's gathering dust, you are in very good, if not really frustrating, company.
Oh, those numbers are high. And it highlights a big truth. Y'all ready for it?
Come on, let me eat my
Having
grape.
a vision is one thing, carrying it out is a whole different ballgame. There's even a saying, vision without execution is hallucination. So basically, a vision by itself, without a plan to back it up, it's just a nice fantasy,
It's a
a
fantasy.
dream,
A
a
dream.
simple fantasy. That you. It's just not happening. And most of us visionary types, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna remove myself from the visionary category
Why are
because
you removing yourself?
we can get into it later, but I'm really not.
Okay.
I'm really not. I am often mislabeled by association. I associate
Ah,
tightly with visionary people. I associate with you. I associate with some other folks who are very visionary, but it doesn't naturally come with execution skills baked in. They're
right.
completely developable, but you know, it looks like being good at Insecure's mirror rat pep. You know, you ever remember those mirror rat pep talks? But not so great at doing the work that comes after the pep talk. Yes, yes, you, Issa D. We can see the big picture clearly, the end goal shining bright, but the steps to get
Mm.
there, that's where things get hazy and or overwhelming.
I joke that I am the CEO of the Ideas on Fire, the Papers on the Floor Club. I can dream up a whole new program, and you just described it for my team in an afternoon. The kind of grand vision that makes everyone go, ooh, ah. But ask me 6 months later how the implementation is going, and I'm like, well, it's buffering.
There are a few big reasons, and some are psychological. Research shows that about 1 in 4 adults, that's 25% of y'all, that's we go to the store with $4, with $1 in 4 quarters, and we missing a quarter. Now we can't get what we want, right? 1 in 4 adults worldwide are chronic procrastinators. Chronic procrastinators, not procrastinating on getting weed, but chronic procrastinators. And visionary leaders can be the prime culprits. It's not because you're lazy. Oftentimes, it's quite the opposite. Sometimes it's perfectionism or
Yes,
a fear of failure in
yes.
disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Dreamers have vivid imaginations, which means you can also vividly imagine everything that could go wrong
Oh my
or
God.
not live up to your ideal. And so there's this psychology professor, Joseph Ferrari. He literally wrote a whole book on procrastination that says the common reason people don't finish things is fear of being evaluated. We'd rather have folks judge your effort. Hey, I had a great idea,
E for effort.
then judge the final result. That didn't turn out as amazing as you said. So, you know, visionaries, they subconsciously stall near the end, not to be confused with brothers who be ghosted with you on dating sites. But, you know, visionaries, for real, stall near the end because if it's never finished, guess what? It never flops. That's why the movie ain't started. Sound familiar?
What? I did not think of it that way, Maria.
Mm.
If it never finishes, it never flopped.
Flip to the flop. But
Okay.
yeah, if you never finish it, it won't flop because there's nothing to flop. It's just this abstract idea that you've won everybody over with.
Maria, I do not
Yes.
appreciate you dragging my 92% done skeletons out of the closet. Okay.
They're beautiful bones.
Oh my God, not the beautiful bones. That hits home, Maria. Oh my goodness. I absolutely have felt that fear. Man, I'm feeling it right now. Ooh. Hold on, y'all. I needed a minute. This is Kishshana of now, not Kishshana of yore, because before I'd have just sucked it up. But now, if I start to feel some stuff, I'm gonna give myself a minute to work through it. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually felt that fear that if I like actually finish this thing, people will see whether it's brilliant or BS. And let me tell you something. I've had to Tina, that's my alter ego. I've had to talk to her something nasty recently because she talked to me real crazy on the inside. She's very critical. I know she's trying to protect me, but she's very critical. So
Mm-hmm.
staying in dreamland is safer.
Mm.
And then there's just like the temperament of a visionaries. This is power of personality on display. Big picture thinkers often aren't detailed people. We love to start stuff, but the maintenance and the minutia of getting to it, I don't want none of it. Okay. So as the saying goes, people who have visions often lead the way, but it is rare for a vision to be fulfilled without someone tending to the details. And someone is not me. Okay. So Maria, you know how people kept every time you talk about like getting stuff done, particularly for entrepreneurs. So I would ascribe this to CEOs, to leaders of teams, et cetera, who are really charged with the success of the folks that they manage and the work that they do. Will say, well, some people will say, well, Beyonce has 24 hours in the day, same as us. Pause. Beyonce got a whole squad of squads. Okay.
One of Rumi's nannies is literally on stage behind Beyonce, holding Rumi up until it's Rumi's turn to walk around. And then she catches Rumi's hat. You know what I don't have? One nanny for the 1 year old I got somewhere around here trying to keep himself occupied.
Okay. So we could do
What?
this business. Hello?
Sorry, I hate that comparison to Beyonce. I hate it.
She needs a team of hardworking band members, choreographers, stage managers, assistants of assistants. She got the vision, but you need so many dope humans who are laser focused on their role, that they are CEO of a function to make it happen. So that's why you'll see in corporate life and in big nonprofits, you'll see visionary CEOs with rock star COO. Well, first of all, you will never see the COO, but there's somebody making it happen on the ground. But for those of us, Maria, like you and I, flying solo or we're leading a small team, oftentimes we are the CEO and the COO. And we may not naturally excel at the second part. Burp.
Oh, I ain't excelling at neither one of them, so that's very true. Vision, visionaries, they also tend to bite off more than they can chew. Big thinkers, you just often take on too much and overwhelm yourselves. And you know what? I have definitely tried to be Superwoman,
Fair.
handling every tiny detail of a
Fair.
grand plan only to burn out. And ironically, that reduces what you actually get done. The people have done
Wow.
the work on this, they've done the research, and studies on workplace multitasking show that switching between too many tasks can slash productivity by as much as, anyone want to guess? Want to guess?
40%.
Oh, you're right. I hate when you guess right. You're so smart. Darn. Okay. Well, you're right. 40%. Your brilliant mind is literally losing efficiency by ping ponging
Can't
between
believe it.
all these shiny ideas. Not to mention, it takes over 23 minutes on average to refocus on an interruption. I can watch an entire episode of Bob's Burgers without commercials while you are trying to get back on track from the task switching.
That hit home. That hit home.
So
That hit
if you're
home.
always chasing the next idea before finishing the current one, you're constantly resetting your brain. And no wonder nothing gets fully done.
This is absolutely me. Okay. I get a new idea, y'all, and it's like a toddler seeing a sparkly toy. Ooh, look at the colors, something new. And I drop whatever I was doing. Meanwhile, the previous project is sitting in the corner, half dressed, shivering. Ma'am, are you ever coming back to finish me? And then on top of that, we sometimes face resistance, right? From others or from reality. dreamers can get pushed back like, that's unrealistic. I just got that last week. I was talking to my brother about this idea that I have. It's a dream I've been quietly holding on to for a while. And I had only told, one or two people. Of course, my brother's going to be in that number. And the other couple of folks I said something to were like, oh my God, when? How do you need help? Da-da-da-da. My brother was like, how you going to afford that? Here you go again, just being unrealistic. And I was like, what the hell? And I know that was his immediately trying to protect me because I have other things going on. I'm trying to right side my life. I'm trying to reset, right? I'm in a mid 40s reset, me set, if you will. And yeah, and he's just trying to help make sure I don't put too many things, too much dip on my chip. But you get pushback, like it's unrealistic. We've never done it that way. And if anybody has watched Abbott Elementary, if you remember Janine Teagues from Abbott Elementary, she's the idealistic young teacher, always coming up with big plans to help her kids. She'll be like, I'm going to start a gifted program and a garden and an after school step team. Her heart is so huge and her visions are beautiful, right? But oh my goodness, the chaos that ensues when she tries to execute without a solid plan. Other teachers, looking at you, Barbara Howard, are giving her the side eye like, sweetie, did you think this through? Oftentimes, Janine ends up overwhelmed or needs rescuing because she jumped in with both feet and no roadmap. And it's played for laughs on the show, but it is too real for me. Big ideas, messy implementation. That's the Visionaries' dilemma in a nutshell.
Ooh, and let's not forget the emotional toll. When you're a visionary leader and you're not delivering results, you start feeling the guilt of that, the anxiety from that. We could even say there's some imposter syndrome poking its head up from that. Maybe I'm really not cut out for this. You start thinking that.
Yes,
and you start winging it or hiding the lack of progress. In fact, Kishshana, in our Stop Winging It episode, we noted how winging it can be a coping mechanism that backfires. The pew, pew, pew hits you. And it's similar here. Not finishing things can be a coping strategy to avoid that final judgment, but it leaves you and your team in perpetual limbo and sometimes even confusion. Your team's like, great idea. So what happened with it? Meanwhile, you're on to the next idea and they're left hanging. Over time, that erodes trust. Folks may start rolling their eyes at the next big idea because they don't believe this one will pan out either. It's okay. Say ouch. It hurts.
I'm sitting here looking like I got the bubble guts right now because I noticed I wanted to roll something out this summer that we had done before, and we did roll it out, but it wasn't getting the traction. So I came up with this plan to really kind of rev it. And Blythe kept being like, "You gonna do this plan? The date has passed for this launch, right? You wrote all this up. You're not gonna do it." And I was just like, ah. And I looked up last night, like, shoot, we still ain't do this thing. We gonna do it, y'all. It's gonna be a late summer drop. Basically, if you ever had something to stay on stage, okay, or in a meeting or a presentation, and you found yourself choking up and you're like, I don't know what I want to say. Well, then I really want you to work with me and the team one-on-one so that we can teach you how to build out a speaking practice or a speaking business. And if you're like, Kishshana, I don't want to do neither, but every now and again, I do want to get this honorarium when somebody asks me to speak for a few minutes, then this is also for you too. And so we are we're going to invite you into that. So when you see that come across the bottom in the comment, in the notes, just click on the link and book some time with us so that we can help you do that. Okay. That was my commercial.
Highly recommended. There's some speakers you're paying money to speak right now that Kishshana trained and they're not saying it out loud.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Keep going.
That's fine. But your team absolutely notices, y'all, when you drop projects, okay? My team does. So the reason me and Maria are having this conversation is because we work together, right? We work independently. I have a team that supports me. Maria's on that team. Every day I'm like, come on, Maria, let's go. She finally said yes. And so, but I know that we dropped the ball, right? And if you keep doing it over and over again, we're a small team. We've worked at other places before. We give each other a lot of grace, right? But when you're in a larger entity, so when management is a team of 20 and 30, we can't do the same foolishness that we do now that there's 6 of us or less. We can't do it. That's just not it. And so even if they love you, it affects morale and your credibility. And if you're a solo act, guess what, friends? You notice. And let me tell you what's creeping up on you. Your confidence takes a hit. every time you abandon another dream. But I want you to know, dear dreamer, we are not here to shame it or anyone. We get it. This is about naming the beast so we can tame it, because we know from experience, even though Maria says she's not a visionary, she is, that the visionary's dilemma is real and it has real causes: fear of imperfection, lack of detail, doing too much, not having support structures, etc. Acknowledging these is the first step. And I want y'all to take a deep breath. Okay? Because acknowledging this is the first step.
Deep breath indeed. Right. Whew. So, whew. Now that we've confessed our visionary sins and seen the scope of the problem, what are we going to do about it? How do we, as Kishshana says, get that buffering bar from 92% to 100%? The spoiler is that it is possible. With some strategy, some mindset shifts, and yes, a framework, you can bridge the gap between your big dreams and real world results.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to dive into building a framework, okay? So Maria and I are going to do this for you in real time. Practical ways to turn your dream into a deliverable. And I want y'all to know I hate frameworks, just so you know. I mean, I do. Because I feel like when people are stressed out, frameworks go out the window. What you did in childhood comes in the window, okay? That's want to be very clear. Your childhood defense mechanisms, they kick up hardcore. You don't know that's what they are, or you might know and you just want to deny it. But baby, we go back to the basics. So when we try to design frameworks, we try to design them with folks who are exhausted, stressed out, overwhelmed in mind, because we don't want you to get to that reptile mind, okay, where you just operating off nothing but instinct. Back to, we don't want you to wing it, but we do want to acknowledge that thing is hanging in the wings, just ready to pounce, and we want to be able to help it to slow its damn roll. So think of this like putting your vision through project finishing school. We're going to get those dreams into formation, friends. Get it. Sorry. Great Beyonce. You like that?
Love you, Beyonce.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this quick break. So, friend, are you a stressed out and tired manager? Are you an executive looking for a new way to inspire and activate your team? Are you a board member who is limping along knowing that you have to raise philanthropic dollars, but you do not know where to begin, particularly in today's changing environment? Well, look no further. Welcome to ManageMint. We're a crisis management strategic planning firm where we work with organizations, technology companies, and corporations to help you build and retain healthy teams. And for us, that means we step into your organization to transform through collaborative coaching, through restorative retreats, and through learning experiences that really help your team to show up powerfully where they work so you can meet and exceed your goals. So if you're tired of doing management and leadership the same old, and you are looking for something new that actually works from experts who have been in your shoes and are still in your shoes, then look no further than ManageMint. Go ahead and head over to www.management.co today, or click the link below so that my team can help you. We look forward to hearing you and changing all the things over at ManageMint.
Welcome back. Okay, now we're going to get into solutions with this segment. Building a framework. Practical strategies to bridge dream and reality. It's time to give that big idea some legs to stand on. Think of this segment as the how-to manual for visionaries. We want to help you build a structure so that your brilliant dream doesn't float away. Instead, it walks its way into the real world.
Amen. You like that? Hit you again. Hey. This is where the magic happens, my friends, okay? Where we take that gorgeous vision board or that digital Pinterest board and we turn it into an actual checklist. I know it's not sexy. I know, but it's necessary. And if segment one, if our first part of the episode had you thinking, yep, I do that too. Me too. Then I want you to like get your pen and paper out, get your iPad out, get your phone out. We got receipts and strategies. Okay. So let's dig in.
First big strategy, break it down, then break it down again. Visions don't get executed is because they stay too high level. Yep. They're like a giant iceberg of awesome with no approachable entry point.
Yep.
Professor Ferrari, we've mentioned him before, he put it like this: people who struggle to finish projects, quote, don't have trouble seeing the big picture. It's how to break it down into manageable tasks that can be paralyzing. End
Facts.
that quote.
Facts.
And like to him, I say, exactly, sir. So take that big dream and slice it into smaller components. Then take those components and slice those into actionable tasks. Keep going until each task is bite sized enough that you're like, oh, I can totally do that.
Okay, so I'm of two minds. I love that. So I want you to think about it like going from a whole Beyonce stadium tour, which I've been to all except this last one. Maria, I'm still lamenting that we did not get to go to this last one. So it's like going from a whole stadium tour, which can be super overwhelming, to one rehearsal at a time. Totally doable. Okay. Because since we've been using her as an example so far, Maria, like she is basically an execution ninja. She and her team, and a visionary. Okay. She had a, and this the example I love the best. Have you really listened to or watched the Coachella homecoming show?
I did.
Oh my gosh. So me and Sinai were driving to Jackson. We were looking for an apartment for her a couple of weeks ago. And Sinai played the whole album experience. And I was just transported again, not just to the music, but the execution, the excellence of full on HBCU homecoming experience on stage. That's big picture. That is huge, massive. But how does she make it a reality? By building a framework of practice and preparation that's honestly mind blowing. She and her
Mm-hmm.
team, and I remember this when I was going through like the documentary of how she made this and how she kind of does her music, spent months breaking that vision into pieces. 4 months just rehearsing with the band, and then another 4 months rehearsing choreography. 8 months of sweat and grind for a 2-hour performance. She decided every detail, costume colors, music arrangements, piece by piece. That is a real live vision meeting a framework. Break it down again. Now, I'm not saying that you need an 8-month rehearsal schedule, okay? Because we ain't got Coachella money right now, right? But the principle stands. Big dreams require structured planning. Beyonce got it information, and you need to do so at well. And right now, Maria, there's no excuse because we can leverage technology through dozens and dozens and dozens of AI tools to take our big idea, whether you spoke it into your phone, y'all, okay, and then uploaded it, or you typed it in and you can have chat to help you start to build out your straw man. Mind you, I don't want you to give it over to AI to do. And here's why. Because the data is starting to emerge that folks who use AI exclusively to build out their ideas a week later can't remember the idea itself. Yeah, MIT came out with a study in June of 2025, and that's because there is a correlation between thinking for yourself, putting it on paper, and ownership. So what I'm suggesting is if you feel stuck, if you're that kind of person that always has the big ideas, but you're like, how the hell do I break this down? Get the idea, the big idea down yourself, whether you talk it out, write it out, okay? Then leverage an AI tool to help you build that framework to break it down and break it down again. Break it down and break it down again will help your brain, particularly for us visionaries, to start to operate from strategy to implementation, right? Like that's the purpose of being able to leverage technology in this way to do that. So you don't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, wow. You know, I have a touch and go relationship
I
with
know
AI.
he's gonna say that. I know he's gonna say that. I know he's gonna say that.
So, what I will agree on is breaking it down and mapping it out totally works. Writing it down and making it plain, I mean, that's biblical knowledge. Have the
Yeah,
vision, write it down, make it
yeah,
plain. Without a vision, the people perish. Write it
yeah.
down.
That's it. That's it.
Um, don't just swirl the plan around in your head. You really do need to document it. And there's lots of AI. You know, there's what you're talking about, artificial intelligence. There's the principles of AI, such as like Allen Iverson. You just got to take the shots. You can't be imagining the shot in your head. You got to take all the shots. Take the shots. It's muscle memory. You got to take the shots. And then there's ancestral intelligence.
You better, Maria.
Tap into all of your AIs, y'all. There's ancestral intelligence. It's like, who do I know who's done this before that I could seek wisdom from, right? There's all types of things I'm trying to make AI. I feel like I am an AI to a few key visionaries.
Yes, you
I
are.
am in accountability intelligence. You know, I will hold you accountable to the stuff you say you're going to do. And I'll be like, so how's that going to happen? You know, you were sharing about sharing a vision of yours with your brother, Kishshana. And I was like, oh man, maybe your brother is not your best first round support. You know, your
Yeah.
first round should be the folks who just go, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, they just affirm that you have the idea and that the idea exists. Then your second round are kind of like your refiners. They're
Yeah.
the ones that come with some very supportive kind of questions and feedback to get your brain going.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily critiquing. They're just kind of like, oh, well, tell me more. How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Does something like this exist that I can look up? So for my, like, they come with those types of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then your third are really like the people who are coming out with like some hard hitting, like, you ain't got no money. And you're like, well, you know, I thought about that. Thank you. And I've had this plan at whatever. So I think that in addition to writing it down, making it plain, documenting it, having some support, you know, I think there's one study in particular from Dominican University
Mm-hmm.
found that people are 42% more likely to achieve their goals just by writing them down. 42%. That's a free boost to your odds, yo. AI it. Write it down. 42%
AI.
shooting average
Let me tell
up.
you something. That's about to be my swag. AI it, Allen Iverson it. Okay. Okay.
Just by getting it out of your brain and onto some paper or even in a screen or even in a trusted conversation with a friend, right? When you write it down, the steps you turn an abstract idea into a concrete roadmap.
Absolutely. Ooh, I love that. Preach, Professor Maria. I love that.
One
Professor
day, one day.
Maria. This doesn't mean your plan won't evolve though. Like, of course it will, but it does allow you to start somewhere. And for me, as a big dreamer, one massive shift was learning to love lists and timelines in a different way. So I've always been a planner. I have the physical planner. Hold on, y'all, since I'm at my desk. Physical planner. Okay. And then I have my good notes on my iPad. And then I have my actual calendar. Y'all, I have a feelings journal. Okay. I am prone to support gluttony, just so you know. But when I was looking at redoing and working with our copywriter last year on redoing our website and the language for our business, y'all, I pulled out my paper planners because I've kept my paper planners since I started my business and went through and I was like, oh, these are the themes that have been consistent for a decade. Some of y'all might say I'm a little bit of a hoarder, potentially, okay? But unless you're trying to give me an intern who gonna get college credit, who can digitize these pages, we got what we got. Okay, they're gonna be able to do it. I'm just saying. But I learned that I was obsessed with lists because lists made me feel better. But I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing anything with the lists. And then they went from making me feel better to making me feel overwhelmed. So then I put the list down and I went to go get ice cream. You see a trend here? And so what I'm learning now is okay, schedules, lists, when they're used properly, create a sandbox. They give me a play space, they give me structure. Okay. And you might be saying, ugh, I don't want constraints. I'm a creative. But I learned that a little structure actually frees me up to be creative because it holds me accountable to doing the dang thing.
Yeah, look, the minute you started talking down that road, I was greeted by my dear friend Venus Williams, who really, Venus Williams, please be my friend. Discipline is freedom. Discipline
Ooh.
is freedom. Structure isn't stifling, it's supportive. And part of that support is setting deadlines, right? Open ended means it's never ending. Ooh, don't you love that? Open ended
Open
means
ended means it's
never
never
ending.
ending.
If you say someday I'll finish this, you might as well be saying when pigs fly. You know, instead of that, try assigning a date to each of your milestone. Even if it's arbitrary, it gives you something to work toward. And maybe even create intermediate deadlines like mini due dates for each chunk of work. This is something that I do personally that I had to embrace. And I'd keep pushing things off, saying, not ready yet, needs to be perfect.
I remember. And then you took a sabbatical.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
You was little miss, just five more revisions, 5 more minutes, five more. And then the sabbatical came. Okay. I feel
I
like
know.
the tide shifted after that.
You know, I recently learned what it was behind that. I didn't have the space to I like consider myself. So because I'm putting so much energy into handing something over, I had to learn the difference between a first pass, a first draft, and a final thing. So I was taking offense at feedback I would get to the first thing. I wanted it to be done. So what you were saying earlier in the episode, we were saying about like not wanting to have to maintain something, fear of something being critiqued or, being a flop. I would put so much energy into I've got to make this perfect so that the mic drops when I turn it in. Ain't nobody got nothing to say, but thank you and fantastic.
And you want to go on to the next thing, okay? Because your
And I want to
attention
go on to the
span
next
is like
thing.
of an at, right? You like, I'm trying to move on.
But I had open to the fact that the process isn't done until it's had the opportunity to be refined, and I have to turn in something for feedback and refinement and editing to be possible. So not only did I have to lean into a less is more philosophy, of just like stop trying to do too much and get it done, and I can always go back to it to make it better, but it has to just be done first. Something has to be there for me to edit, and it can't
Yep.
all just be happening in my head because I work
I know.
collaboratively. I
Yep.
work with teams. So I would have like 17 things on my to-do list for a simple project, and I finally said this is just unsustainable. Now I forced myself to pick like three main things, and I picked those three main things that have to be executed in a time max. And I've literally started just telling myself, Maria, less is more, trim it down, trim it down. And you know what? The world didn't end, right? The world didn't end. I would turn in stuff that I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have at least 5 edits to do on that. And I would set aside the time for those five
These
edits and
edits, right?
imagining that, right? And I would turn it in and someone go, oh, this is great. Let me get a few things back to you in like 2 days or something. And so my next problem became, what do I do with all this time I set apart for all these edits I presumed in my head I would have?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cue, go to the nail salon. Cue, play with my baby. But in fact, I actually complete the projects now. And they're just as good, if not better, than when I was in detail overload.
Let me tell
So
you
I
something.
shared that just to say sometimes cutting out the extra bells and whistles, which include the extra presumptions we're making about how imperfect something is, means that the core idea has more space to shine and people actually have more entry points to participate with the work product.
Ooh, that is such an important lesson, Maria. Like, seriously, because dreamers, overthinkers, maximalists, visionaries often think more equals better. But more can be the enemy of done. So, like how Maria's new MO is something like, if it's not essential, it's out. Let me tell you something. She's teaching me this every day. And I wrote a whole book on doing less. And she's still like, when I have that. Okay. It's like going to the Jamaican restaurant and you want the curry go and they say, oh no, when I have that. And you're like, it's 11 a.m. Y'all opened an hour ago. Like, how do you
You're
not
like, I
have it?
want extra gravy. Manavit.
When I have it. Okay. Yeah, fried dumpling. When I have that. Like,
Just
really?
one. You want just
Just
one?
a one fried dumpling, not
Just
people don't
one
know I
left. Me not
paid.
get no more.
They don't know I paid. Okay. Listen, Maria, it's like you Marie Kondoed your project planning. Okay. Even
Oh
though
yeah.
she's changed her whole philosophy after she got us all hooked on if it don't bring you joy, okay, toss that toy. Now she's like, maybe. Okay. But if a task doesn't spark impact, bye, thank you, next. Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't do the things that are like necessary to do, which aren't always the sexy things. But I've actually watched you take a big initiative. We talked about these retreats. And then you were like, oh, yeah, and the people are booking. What? We just talked about it in January. It's June. This thing is happening in November. Thing one, thing two. And
Hmm.
I was like, and when's January? And when's like, we are moving on some stuff. And it worked because it was achievable and it was focused. So I want you to ask yourself, what must happen to consider this project successful? And focus on that
Hmm.
first. Everything else is a bonus. Okay. You can add the unicorn glitter after you've gotten the core done.
Accountability and support every
Talk
single
about it.
time. Don't
Talk
go
about
it
it.
alone if you can help it. I don't work alone. We talked about visionaries often needing a detail oriented partner in business. That could be a COO, a chief operating officer or a project manager. In your personal context, maybe it's a colleague or a friend, someone who's more of a doer. If you're an Issa Rae type, the creative visionary, you find your condola, right? The
Yeah.
organized planner friend from Insecure. And Insecure season 4, Issa had this big dream to organize a block party to uplift her community, very noble. And she had never done an event on that scale
Ever.
before. ever. Big thinker, zero experience executing such a thing. And when she partnered with Condola, who had event planning chops, things finally started moving. Budgets got made, acts got booked. And of course, there was drama. Come on, it's TV, but also art imitating life. But the point is, she needed a framework and help to bring her idea to life. And by the end, Issa's block party actually happened, despite the hiccups, because there was structure and shared effort. Look, visionaries, how good is your vision if you're the only one who can see it?
Come on.
Is that the point? Is it for you?
It's not the point. That's a great
Because if the vision's just for you and you're like a self-serving visionary, that's, let us know in the comments how that's working for you.
I would love to know in the comments how that's working.
I'd love to know. I have no reference point for that.
That is such a good example. Okay, so that to me says like, don't be afraid to ask for help or delegate parts of your vision. And I know for many of us, they're like, but it's my little pretty, the precious, the little precious. You got to be willing to let go of it, because one thing I've learned, delegating is not dumping your work on others. It is actually multiplying the project's chances of success, because it ensures that like each part of that thing is handled by somebody who can give it the attention it deserves. And if you try to hold every piece of a big project yourself, which I have tried to do many times, much to the project's massive failure, some pieces were going to surely drop. And it may not look like a failure to the outside, but to me, who's already a high achiever, a high flyer, visionary, high execution, and let me tell y'all, high guilt, embarrassment, and shame, different episode. Woo, but I had to drop that in there because I want to let y'all know that there's a dark side to the visionaries, okay? Some pieces are going to drop. So even visionary leaders who succeed usually have strong operational teams or partners covering for them. So you got to find your people. You have to find your team, your crew, and loop them into your plan. And you have to let them hold you accountable too. Somebody who will check in and say, hey, did you send that proposal out like you said you would by Friday? Shout out to Blythe, who keeps my life going.
Blythe, we love you.
We love you. If that someone, even if that someone's just like an accountability buddy outside of your work, but they're the person that goes, you all right? You eating? You walking? You still at work? What you doing? So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, this framework building that we've been talking about, right? 1, recap. Break big dreams into small tasks. Write down your plan. Remember, 42% advantage of writing your goals. Come on, take the shots, AI. Write them down. Gotta get out there.
Do it.
We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. Okay,
do it.
Me and Iverson.
How you practice and how you perform.
So set real deadlines. Yes. Trim the excess to focus on what matters.
Yes.
Less is more most of the time.
Yes.
And enlist support and accountability. Basically, again, you're creating a bridge from your vision to execution.
That's right.
One end is anchored in your dream, the other in day-to-day action. Each plank of that bridge is one of these steps or supports.
Oh, Maria, I love that visual. Ooh, I love a good visual. Ooh, your dream deserves a good, sturdy bridge, not a rickety rope. You hope you can tight walk across, all wibbly wobbly, your knees shaking, you're looking over the edge like, not today, Lord. Because trust me, I tried that last minute tightrope method. Let me tell you something. I fell right off that thing into the canyon of not done more than once. Let me tell you, my first book has not seen the light of day. Okay. Hey, I'm new here. It's still waiting to be released. And I have to give people their money back.
I almost forgot about, hey, I'm new here.
It was terrible. And I was just so embarrassed to like get the help I needed. I didn't even know that I needed help to bring. First of all, I did not even know that you actually need help to bring a book to life.
I did not know.
Shout out to my developmental editor. And it's still there. Oh, it's coming. Yeah. I already even told my publisher, like, hello, this book need to come out. A whole box series of how to get your leadership and managerial life together. Hello. But I followed off the horse with that. Love letters to my sorors, trademarked, registered, launched it. Book ain't done. Now I got to submit
a whole other book out.
I got a whole nother book out before I did those two. Leadership Summit. I mean, I could just I could do this all day. And it's okay to have a lot of ideas. It's okay. That's why you need time as a visionary and a leader to ideate. You need time to be able to sit and pontificate. You need time to look at the water, the leaves, the trees, the bees. You need time with yourself so that you can have that creative flow. And you need to play, because if you don't play, you will not innovate. You cannot iterate. You cannot ask for help. right? And so that for me was a big learning. So I'm not going to tell y'all what to do. And remember, I said it in my book. I'll say it out loud. I've said it on stages. Don't trust nobody who says they have it all figured out. We are learning together. We're just willing to share the mess as we're in it. Go ahead, Maria.
Always be prepared to revise your plan. You don't have to abandon it, even if you reprioritize it.
Yeah.
In the many things going on in your life, like shelf life is real. Give something a little shelf life, and then if you're feeling compelled to go back to it or want to go back to it, you can. So not only revision of the plan, but also revision of the plan's timeline, revisions of the plan's priority. You don't have to abandon it, because as you implement, you're going to learn new info or constraints that require you to tweak your roadmap, and that is fine. That's completely fine. I just don't want folks using this idea that frameworks might be set in stone. They're really just living documents. Don't use that as an excuse to scrap everything at the slightest challenge. Adjust and keep it going. We talked about Abbott Elementary earlier, idealistic young Janine. She might start with something super overly ambitious, the over the top school project. She hits a wall, but then she revises her approach, right? With some help from her colleagues. And then rather than quitting entirely, the end result might be scaled back. It might not look the way she originally thought it was, but it's still something positive. So be Janine in that second phase when she humbly adjusts her plan and sees it through. Not Janine in the phase of the first time when she's just being completely unrealistic, headstrong, and eventually has a meltdown. And girl, Janine, we love you, girl. We are happy to play the role of the external consultants who come to support the teacher's professional development. I don't know if it's you or Ava or who, but we can come through and do that educational leadership coaching that the lovely professional staff at Abbott Elementary can benefit from. Okay? We will coach you in real and on TV.
Hello. I'm about to say that in real life, we have worked with many K-12 and higher ed institution on helping you do just that. Okay. Okay. Listen, Maria, I think we've given our dreamers some solid framework advice. So friends, how y'all feeling? Hopefully, a little bit more empowered and a little bit less overwhelmed, because we covered the mindset and planning side, right? Now it's time to get super practical. So I love me some tools and hacks, and we're gonna talk just quickly because I know we've been at this for a couple minutes now. I feel like this is one of our long episodes, and we talked about tactics, platforms, routines, and yes, delegation moves that actually work for people like us. And I promised, because Maria said at the beginning, that I was going to talk about how I use some of my apps. Shout out to, first of all, I'm not shouting them out twice because they are not sponsoring us yet. We want to be sponsored by ClickUp. Somebody call them. Okay. Shout out to ClickUp and Good Habits. And Maria, I want you to share your simpler, like less is more. I call it a toolkit. Your back of the napkin is priceless. We're basically giving you the contents of our Get It Done utility belt. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get it together.
Let's jump in. So before we get out of here, we want to give you some tools for success. This is where the rubber meets the road, my friends. Okay. We have addressed the why and the plan. And now let's talk about the how, as in how you actually get stuff done day to day when you're a visionary at heart. What tactics and tools can help a dreamy leader execute like a boss?
Okay. A plan is wonderful. I love a plan. I'm a planner. But we also need the daily habits and systems that keep us on track. Otherwise, it's just too easy to fall back into old patterns. Like, for me, that's eating a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios with my Snuggie on the couch. So think of this particular part of the segment as equipping you with a dreamer's productivity toolbox. This is the part that if you've been taking a walk, you want to like sit on the park bench now and like block it. We're going full cue from James Bond handing out gadgets, except our gadgets are apps, calendars, delegation techniques, maybe a dash of caffeine. Take a sip, and then let us know.
My iced coffee, and take a sip.
I just want to. I'm on the counter. This is like the fourth time we're gonna name these people explicitly without having a sponsorship. Go.
Oh my gosh! Okay, we're never doing this again. Oh Jesus! Okay, so let's start. So my team can't live without ClickUp. I don't think Maria would protest, but Blythe is the one who keeps us on track when it comes to that. And no, this is not a sponsored ad, y'all. This is genuine love. So for those who don't know, ClickUp is a project management platform, kind of like Asana or Trello or Notion. But it's my personal favorite, and I've used all of them. Why do I, Miss Big Ideas, use it? And that's because it helps me take that big vision and literally break it into tasks and subtasks and timelines in a visual way. I use ClickUp to plan Sanai's entire college process. keeping track of the schools we went to, the visits, application in, scholarship applications, acceptances, wait lists, parent forms we had to fill out, everything in drop down menus. If you want that from me, y'all, just say, give me the parent plan in the comments, and we'll make sure we get it over to you when we get your email. But I could brain dump all my ideas there, and then I organize them into folders and lists, and it gave me like a second brain. And I've got ClickUp boards for everything from content calendar planning to projects that I'll do eventually. I call it my sandbox for wild ideas. But when I get an idea at 2 a.m., I've trained myself not to start acting on it right away, but to capture it on my notes app. Okay. Listen, where's my phone? My phone's around here somewhere. My simple old iPhone. Okay. I have, first of all, my notes app is wildly organized. And that's because I learned that I want to be able to go back and quickly reference something when I have to bring something potentially out the graveyard. I probably have thought of this. And so I had to name things properly. And so I have idea and what it is. I have it by type, by category, even by my friends who are ideators like me. If they're talking to me, I have a folder with them and I keep track of their ideas. Because oftentimes they'll be like, I was thinking about doing, I'm like, I think you said that 6 months ago. Let me go look. If you were talking to me about it, I probably have it. And that allows me to be able to take ideas and integrate them into real plans when it's time to get to that sort of like planning process that I leverage ClickUp for. The key is I have a system to both catch ideas and not lose them without derailing what I'm currently executing. And then when it's time to execute, I'm able to hand those ideas over to my team and they're able to take it and run with it so that they can lay out an implementation plan that we can all follow.
I love that. You're like a master chef with a bowl for extra ingredients so you don't just throw everything into the main dish at once. I love it. Like an idea parking lot. The Notes app is brilliant just for its simplicity. You always have your phone on you, and inspiration strikes in weird places like the shower. Am I the only one?
No.
But, people who know me know I have my phone in the shower. I'm not, it is what it is. Build around what you are, not what you think is,
Hey.
But seriously, find a capture tool that works for you.
Yeah.
Notes app, a physical notebook, voice memos, whatever. The goal is just to get your ideas out of your head and into a trusted place so you can focus on the task at hand, knowing that that shiny idea is safely recorded for later. This prevents that feeling of, oh my gosh, I have to do something with this idea right now or I'll forget it. You won't. You've captured it.
Ooh, resist the urge, y'all. Resist the urge to put down what you're currently working on and pick up something else. I resist it every day. Ooh, my heart just started to flutter again. Ooh, Maria, I realized I was probably living in a constant state of, I used to think it was like buzzing energy. I realized now it's like anxiety and stress all the time. Because I'm like, but I got to finish it. But it's brilliant. But I got to do it. But the people are counting on me. What people? Nobody knows about it yet. You just said it to yourself in your mind. Okay.
That thing that energizes you simultaneously exhausting you. Wow.
Listen. What we're trying to say, friends, is the tool itself is less important than having one central place where you track everything, right? We just want you to keep yourself honest. ClickUp sends me gentle, okay, sometimes aggressive reminders.
I'm about to say gentle.
They're really aggressive. And guess what? I was going to say I sometimes need it. I always need that nagging reminder because my visionary brain will be like, la, 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 new idea. And ClickUp, and my real life ClickUp, Blythe, is like, hey, girl. Hey, finish drafting that proposal today. Maria, how many times have I slacked you and been like, hey, we thought we were going to do this at 1:00, but evidently there's a proposal due at 3. And so I got to spend that time doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever you need to help move you along, like give yourself the space to be able to do that. But Maria, I know you don't use all the gadgets and the tools because you're like, what? Check where? What you want me to do? So what do you do?
It's me and Ibadu. We are analog girls in the digital world. I lean a bit more minimalist with tools. I've tried the project software, and honestly, I just get overwhelmed. I'm not invested in that muscle memory. Okay. And it just kind of overwhelms me. And also I think being a consultant, having had different types of jobs, it's like I get a little bit of everybody's jam, and I just haven't invested in what is my jam. Because it's harder to get a whole organization to come on to what my jam is, quite frankly. So I spend more time color coding my own task lists and then actually doing them.
If you would use that, right? So you're like, what did I do for 3 hours? You were color coding.
Yeah. So I'm hybrid now, right? I do digital calendars and basic task lists,
Okay.
but I also keep a simple daily planner notebook. Um, my routine each morning is to just write by hand the top 3 things I need to accomplish that day. And I really just try to focus, even before I get to like accomplish, I really
Yeah.
focus on what is my intentionality for the day. And I
Yeah.
go hard with feelings. How do I want to feel by the end of the day? Because I want to be able to assess my performance and my success by like how true I was to my intentionality. So how would I want to feel today? And then I think about the 3 tasks I have to do. And sometimes I could be very honest. I can name in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
even if I accomplish everything, I'm going to have to do something else to feel the way I want to feel at the end of this day. And that also keeps me honest about making sure I schedule something for myself every day.
Ooh, I love
So
that.
focus on less is more. I literally force myself to prioritize that critical few. Writing it down helps to cement it in my mind. There's just something about pen and paper that slows me down, helps with my intentionality. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
easy morning person as much as I can be. I do have a screaming 1 year old. So when he's up,
You
I'm
leave my
up, but
godson alone.
I try to get up before him so I can have my time to do
That little
this.
time to yourself, right?
Yeah, and then I'm very big on using my calendars, my digital ones, my calendar app, to block out focus time.
Okay, I
If
love
10
that.
to 12 is blocked for work on project X, I treat it like a meeting. I'm not, my email isn't even open. I don't know
Mm.
why people keep their email open all the time. That's a real question. Your email app should be closed, in my opinion. It's all distracting. Like the notifications, like, I guess it's nice to be notified, but you don't miss me. I don't have FOMO about that. Miss me
Oh,
with
yeah.
that. When it's my email checking time, I'll get to it.
That's
That's
right.
how I do. If that speaks to you, let me know. But that's how I do. So I'm not doing any new brainstorming, no new emailing,
Mm-hmm.
just working on the thing that's in the time to do. That tactic has a name. I have not made it up. It's called time blocking. And it's a lifesaver for me, especially if you're easily distracted like me. Research shows that focusing on one task at a time significantly improves efficiency, whereas constant task switching
And we
hurts
talked about that.
productivity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff 3 years ago I thought took me longer to do, that now that I have to do my time blocking, I was like, oh, 3 years ago, I would have put aside 2 hours for that. Now I know it's really only going to take me 20 minutes. Could I have gotten that much better at it? Maybe, but probably not. It's because 3 years ago, I wasn't as disciplined on staying focused on my task.
Yes.
So I know better now how much time that takes. Time blocking is like an antidote to our multi project ADD. It says, hey, on this block, I'm wearing my executor hat, not my dreamer hat, and I'm in my block doing that during this time.
Oh, I
And
love
I think
that.
the biggest thing about time blocking that's helpful to me too, that if you're just constantly doing whatever all day, like whatever's coming, you're coming, whatever, I like a finish line. So even
Mm-hmm.
if I'm doing the work and it gets hard in the first 20 minutes, I know I'm like, Maria, you only have another 40 minutes of this to go.
Like you've got to like, yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
either you're going to give up the rest of the block, like we're not going to spend 40 minutes not being effective. So either give up the block and reschedule the hour later,
Yep. Which I have done.
or you need to buckle down and push through for the next 40 minutes. So it gives me that choice because I know that the window's going to close on the time I set. So I like time blocking for that reason
I
too.
love that. And time block has been huge for me. I even block CEO time, literally visionary time. Separate from my
Mm-hmm.
management time, execution time on different days. Like maybe Monday is creative brainstorming for future stuff, but Monday afternoon is finish current deliverables, right? So that way I can
Mm-hmm.
honor both sides of my brain. And I know we've talked a little bit about delegation and team tools. Um, and so I'm thinking, like, how can we move down the line to something that we don't talk enough about that visionaries need? And that for me is rest
Mm.
and care.
I love talking about rest, sleep.
Listen, y'all, we've been talking y'all head off and giving you all the business for almost an hour and a half. And we could talk about this probably for 2 more hours. But I
We
really
easily
want,
could.
we could, but routine and rest and execution are a part of the bag, right? Being able to assess your project on the goal, but also on how you're taking care of yourself. So, the same way you would make space for a Friday recap or a Monday morning plan, how are you making your first meeting or your last meeting of the day with yourself? so that you can have that slow start that Maria talks about that I also enjoy. You can get your blood pumping and moving, whether that's walking or working out or swimming or whatever it is you do in the morning time or how you close your night. That regular cadence, it creates momentum. And Maria, like you, this is something you and I are taking our time in navigating. When you're in your 40s, you have to navigate something a little bit differently, okay? Because self-care and energy is a tool. Hello?
Yeah.
None of these
It
abstract
is.
plans matter if you're exhausted and uninspired. And I realized I wasn't executing stuff because I was straight up tired and mentally overloaded, like on overdrive. And it is hard to do the grinding work of execution if you are running on empty. So, one of my tools, hello, is making sure I take care of Kishshana.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that meant focusing on sleep. Other people have other things, but my sleep habits really impact how I'm able to design, create, and execute. And I know that might be a novel concept, but there are many, many adults who struggle with sleep apnea, who struggle with insomnia, who struggle with waking up in the middle of the night with anxiety attacks. And so getting to a point where I have a good sleep habit and sleep ritual has been so critical for me to be able to do what I need to do. That and having some giggle time. So I bribed myself. If you finish this chapter, you can watch 2 episodes of Insecure Tonight guilt free. So those small incentives as a creative allow me to kind of keep myself going, keep myself focused in the morning when tasks are heavy, leaving some admin stuff for later when I'm fried and all I have to do is be on autopilot. Like that way, I am using my natural rhythm as a tool. So if you think about self care as a tool and you learn to use it well, that optimizes your ability to move and to walk on that bridge from dreaming and visioning to actual implementation and execution.
Yeah, and just a reminder to folks that when we say rest, we're not only talking about taking a nap. There are many ways to rest.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole retreat about it. Find out about it.
Come on, come on.
But
Drop it in.
we're
Listen,
also talking
look in the show
about
notes. Will the information be dropped there? Please book it before it's sold out.
yeah, because there's lots of different ways to rest, and I want to just touch on 2 that we don't talk about a lot, particularly
Do it.
in the management kind of workplace space. One is spiritual rest,
Ooh,
right?
come on.
So if you're doing a lot of stuff that's sucking your soul, you got to replenish. You got to let that rest. And sometimes it's something like being of service. So, is there someone you could be mentoring that's enjoyable?
Yep.
Do you enjoy being a coach or a mentor to someone, being someone that someone else can tap for things? Now, that might sound counterintuitive to rest,
Yeah.
but it might be something that works for folks. I know I was asked to be a mentor at a point in my career where I didn't think I had any skills. I didn't think I had any wisdom to share with anybody. I
Yeah.
couldn't be helpful. And about 2 months into the relationship, I was just like, wow, I am really helping this young person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I am. And it would energize me. I would look forward to Thursday afternoons to be like,
Mm.
hey,
Mm.
and I would just sit there. So tell me how I can help you today. What's going on? How's your week been? And it was great. It felt so fulfilling and rejuvenating and refreshing. So just want to offer there are many, many ways to rest. Another type of rest is like we spoke about earlier, so I won't go deep into it, but just like the constant being on, the constant notifications. You need to like schedule some time where you're separated from your device and from all of the distractions and just give yourself a moment with yourself. Kishshana's saying something like connecting to her natural cycles. You might not even know your natural cycle. You might not even know, when am I most energized during the day? When during the week do I find myself the most creative? You
Yes.
can't even leverage because you can't access the information within your own
Yes.
body because you're so tightly wound and stressed. So I think even decompressing to understand your baseline is an important body of work that you could do over the next 30 days.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, so Maria, before we sign off, what's one final spicy nugget of wisdom for our dreamy listeners?
You said spicy, and I don't know what it is with me today. Is it my little outfit?
It's
Is
your
it my little bit of
outfit.
cheetah?
It's your outfit. It's a little cheetah around.
Yeah, I'm going too spicy for the podcast, and you need to go to Uno card reverse. Go to you first. Come back to me.
Let me think about this.
Because I'm
Okay.
too spicy.
No,
I'm too
I got
spicy
you,
today.
everybody needs some hot sauce, okay? You need to look up
Okay,
the sauce.
well then I'll say it. I feel like it. Invest in your orgasms. Kishana's like that was not on the script.
Woo!
It wasn't on the script.
It wasn't,
It
but that's
wasn't.
fine. That's fine. It
And I
wasn't in
just,
our
and
notes.
it doesn't have to be X-rated. Maybe this is a little more, like
Mm-hmm.
NC-17. I don't want to say R or anything, but
Cinemax,
like
if you will.
orgasmic experiences
Experiences.
are the
Yes.
things that fill you up, shake your world, and like remind you that you're alive and that your life is for the
Mm.
living of enjoyment and pleasure. Invest in those things, whatever they are for you.
Oh, I love that.
You
That's
need you need like you need that oxytocin. You know what I'm saying? You need to enjoy your life,
yeah.
including your work. Maybe not every single day all the time. Ain't nobody try to be having orgasms 24/7.
No, we're not.
But if you're not having any at all, ever,
Ever.
that's something to look at.
Oh, I love that. I want you to, that orgasmic. Give your dream the chance to live, to thrive, even if that means pushing through
Mm,
some of the boring bits or scary bits, because you owe it to yourself and those who would benefit from your vision. Okay. So you got to finish what you start so you can take that bow at the end. You need to finish. Stick the landing, if you will. So now that we have dug into all the things, I want to thank you all for hanging out with us. This was a meaty one, okay? So if you got to listen to it in two parts, we understand. We understand. We hope you had a few laughs, maybe saw yourself in some of our stories, and picked up a strategy or two. Until next time, remember to live well so that you can lead well. We want you to keep dreaming big, friends. And now you know how to start doing it big too.
mm.
Mm.
Yes, you do. So go on ahead, start using some of the tools we talked about. And until the next episode, you're
You
just going to
you
have to miss
know.
us.
Just gonna have to miss us. Bye, friends.